Welcome back to the channel. Drew here, and you're going to hear a lot all over the internet about Turo being a cash flow business. And you definitely can bring in steady cash flow in this business. In fact, in peak season, it's not uncommon to double, triple, quadruple your monthly car payments in the Turo business. But for me, cash flow is not the most important reason why I do this business. And in fact, it's not even in my top 5. I'm going to give you the top 5 reasons why I do Turo and why for me, they're more important than even cash flow. Let's jump in. All right, the number 5 reason why I do Turo is because it's fun. And this is a fun business for me. I'm a car guy by nature. I've loved cars since I was a little kid. And if I didn't have Turo, I'd probably have one, at the most, maybe 2 of the different vehicles that I have. But the Turo business has allowed me to own several different cars that I really like. And if I want a truck for the weekend, I take my truck. If I want a sports car for the weekend, I have a sports car. If I need an efficient car, then I have my Tesla. And it's fun for me to have a lot of different cars and in a way let other people pay for it. But it's also fun, the renting part of the business is fun for me. I get some of these reviews like you see here and here. And, when you really, when someone rents your vehicle and they have a good time and it makes their event or it makes their anniversary or whatever it is, that's enjoyable to me. I like providing a good service to people and people having a good time. And I'm a people person. I like meeting new people. I also like sharing the stuff that I have, like a new product or a new car, something that I enjoy, and sharing it with somebody else. And for me, it's fun. And so if Turo wasn't a fun business, I wouldn't do it because, we all need to have things that we do, but it's a lot more enjoyable if it's fun for you. And so the number 5 reason why I do Turo is because it's fun. Number 4 is the flexibility. Cash flow is great, and my Turo business definitely brings in cash flow, but if it wasn't able to work around my schedule, then it just wouldn't work. With Turo, you have remote check-ins. Everything that I can do in my business, I can do either early in the morning or late at night. And the hours that I work during the daytime, it really doesn't affect the Turo business. I can use remote check-ins. 90% of my guests I never have to meet. And it's really a pretty simple business to run remotely. Of course, it's not completely passive because there is work you got to do. You have to clean the cars out. You have to prep the cars, get pictures of the cars, and different things like that. But the majority of what I can do it remotely from my phone. I can check vehicles in. I can unlock cars from my phone. I can verify licenses and all that kind of stuff remotely. And that's important for me for a side business, for a side hustle, is that it's flexible and I'm able to work around it. That's why people like Uber. That's why people drive for Uber and Lyft, because it works around their schedule. They can work when they want to work. They can shut it off when they want to shut it off. The Turo business is the same way. If you want to block off a whole week for a car that you want to take on a vacation, you can do that. If you want to block off a weekend and you're going to be out of town, you can block off all ins and out of that time. So it's a very flexible business, and I really appreciate it about the business because there's no way that I could grow the business if it was something that I had to be hands-on and meeting guests all the time. So remote check-in is a big key to that, but I can appreciate the flexibility of the business even more than the cash flow. Number 3. And my number 3 top reason why I do the business is the liquidity. I follow a lot of the economic trends. I watch more YouTube on economics and the Fed and inflation and than probably anybody out there that I know of. But I follow that stuff, and I'm of the belief that we are in a pretty big bubble, and eventually that bubble is going to crash. And having a business like the Turo business, it allows you to be incredibly fluid with your finances. So, if I want to change the business, I can just sell off cars. and it's very simply to move. I remember when Turo had everybody worked up about a year or so ago when they started doing, they started introducing deductibles for hosts when damage is done to the car. The people were freaking out, and it wasn't that big deal. Things changed, and I sold a few of my cars. I bought a few other cars. It's a very liquid business where you can constantly make quick moves. If you need to sell a vehicle, you can get quotes from Carvana, from CarMax, from Vroom, and then 2 dealerships, and you can sell just about any vehicle that you have. If you got really cheap vehicles, you can sell it on Facebook, on Craigslist, on a lot of different platforms. The ability to get information out to people makes it a very liquid business where if you need to make moves or change your business model or cash out of the business a whole, it's very liquid, and that's one of the big reasons why I continue to do Turo and continue to grow my business. Number 2, very close to number 1, but number 2 is the equity in the cars. I personally don't physically need the cash flow. I've been blessed with a great job. I make a good income weekly in what I do, and so I don't physically need the cash flow. All the cash flow that comes in on my vehicles go immediately back into equity in the cars. And I'm either purchasing a new car completely cash, or I'm paying down the loans that I have to where I'm building equity in cars just like people build equity in their houses, their rental houses. And I really run my business almost like people run rental properties, where we're paying down the asset, and once the asset's paid down or paid off, you have a massive amount of equity in the individual's vehicles that you have in your fleet. And I'm a big proponent of, especially when you're building your business, not spending that cash flow that comes in, but banking it for auto repairs if you've got a lot of cheap fleet, or banking it in the vehicles themselves as equity in the vehicles. Right now, my fleet is bigger than I really want to have, and due to Turo's bonus program that you all know about. And so as soon as January, February come around, I will be eliminating a lot of those vehicles. I'll probably cash out close to $50,000 in equity that I have built up in the cars. And it's for me, it's a great way to build equity for the future, to build equity in the cars, to build a cash that is sitting that I have access to when I need it. I hope to buy a new house in the near future, and it's going to be so easy to cash out whatever equity I have in certain vehicles to have the cash down for whatever I want. So the equity in the cars are huge for me. It's important for me. Number one reason why I do this business is not cash flow. It's not anything else that I've mentioned. But number 1 reason is the tax benefits. Some of you know my story. A lot of you don't. But I've never really been in things for strictly the money. I worked for a nonprofit for 10 years, and I made between $30,000 and $35,000. And I lived a good life. I took care of my kids, and I didn't have a lot of complaints. I also didn't pay a lot in taxes. And so once I had to get a secular job and started, moved up in the secular world and for a pretty big company, started making money, I started realizing that as you make money, you start paying a lot in taxes. And so I needed, I needed a way to get some tax breaks on that. And I did the traditional ways of rental properties. I had up to 3 rental properties at a time, and I recently sold off 2 of them. But rental properties are great ways. There's a lot of tax benefits that come with having rental properties. And but when I started the Turo business, after my 2nd year, I started realizing the tax benefits of the Turo business. And there's major tax benefits. I'm not going to go in and give you individual tax benefits because each of you have different situations. It really depends on how much you make from your regular job, or what your situation is, your states, and different things. But there are some major tax benefits for running a Turo business and having a Turo fleet. And that is the main reason why I've grown my fleet. I've continued in this business and continue to get better, sharper, making better decisions moving forward. and I'm transitioning out of rental properties and into the Turo business because the Turo business has all the same tax benefits that rental properties have, or a lot of the same tax benefits. And for me, it's more fun. And I'd much rather, rent out some really fun, nice cars and give people great experiences than have renters that are trashing my houses and calling me in the middle of the night about the different problems. And look, you have some of that with Turo, I get it. But for me, this business is a whole lot more fun. I have all the same tax benefits, and it gives me a lot of the other things that I mentioned. So why do you do the Turo business? And you should have some reasons. It can't just be for the cash flow. That's one of the reasons I don't have a fleet of 15 to 20 shooter cars for if cash flow is your most important thing, that's probably the direction that you want to go. It can be very, very profitable. It takes a little more work and so forth, but I've built my strategies around those 5 things right there. And this is what works for me. But I'm curious to know, why are you in the Turo business? What do you enjoy most about it? What are the reasons that you do it? This does take work. This is not something that it's just, I need to put in about 3 to 5 hours a week doing this business. Sometimes more than that, peak season a lot more than that, but this is not a business where it just runs itself. It takes a little bit of work, but I want you guys to tell me in the comments, what are the reasons that you do this business? And look, we'll all get better together, we'll get sharper, and we'll keep this rolling. Until next time, I'm out, and thanks for tuning in.